Let's do something a little different this week. Let's do kind of a weekly reset and talk about the progression I've made on books that I've been reading and also books that I want to read this week. And I think we're going to go through my TBR cart and get rid of some books that I am just no longer wanting to read. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new. I hope that you really enjoy this weekly reset vlog. It's something kind of new I'm doing on my channel, and I just wanted to say make sure that you like and subscribe. Make sure you always leave me comments below. Check my description box for all of my links to my socials and even my Pango Books account. Also my Patreon. A new month is coming, and so a new book of the month for our monthly book club will be going. So definitely go and check all of that out. But let's kind of get into the books that I read this past week, do a little bit of a wrap up, and then I'm going to talk about the books that I'm currently reading. And then we're going to switch on over to my TBR cart, kind of go through that. There are some books on there that I am just no longer wanting to read, so they will be up on my Pango Books account later this week if you want any of them. So let's just kind of do a little bit of a reset, have a little bit of a chat this week. Nothing major, just kind of slow things down. So the first book that I did finish last week is A Court This Cruel and Lovely by Stacia Stark. I absolutely loved this book. It is so good. It's a fantasy romance. It kind of gives you a little bit of Throne of Glass vibes, but it also gives you maybe even some ACOTAR vibes if you wanted to look for vibes just only, not plot, not characters, not nothing. We have our main girl who at birth, you are supposed to be giving up some of your magic whenever you are a baby. And if you do not do that, then you are hunted down and basically killed. Well, our girl, I don't know if they did give her magic up, but yet a lot of it remained, or if her magic never got up at all. However, our girl is on the run. Her mother died. This happens early on. It's not a spoiler. And she is on the run, and she ends up meeting up with some people on the road, shall we say, some guys, mercenaries, if you will, and she's trying to keep everything hidden about herself because she doesn't want to be turned in and killed, and we go from there. The guy is so amazing. I absolutely loved their dynamic, their character development, and how they kind of work together. It's kind of like an enemies to lovers situation. They don't really hate each other, but they don't really like each other either. And as they get to know each other, it's wonderful. I absolutely loved it. I can't wait to get into book 2. This is a wonderful book. I hope that there will be some special editions in the future. I don't know this. I don't think it's traditionally published. I do think she is an indie author. So I hope that maybe with a lot of hype around this series and stuff, I hope that she ends up getting traditionally published because this book is so good and I can't wait to dive into book 2. The next book that I ended up finishing was one of the books for my in-person book group, and that is Shallow River by H.D. Carlton. This book is extremely dark. Make sure that you check trigger warnings before you read any of H.D. Carlton's books because she holds no punches, okay? There's a lot of dark themes in there, way more than I could even list off at the moment. But our girl comes from an abusive family. She was abused her whole life. And she ends up meeting a guy, and he's not necessarily nice to her either. It's her boyfriend. He takes her home to go meet his family, and she thought that he was the only child. However, he has a brother, an older brother. And the older brother is a cop, or he's with the FBI, something like that. He wants to help our girl get out of the situation she is in. She wants no part of it because she knows that if her boyfriend finds out, bad things are going to happen. I don't want to spoil much from there. I Didn't necessarily like this book by H.D. Carlton. I do love her writing, and I love her world building and the characters that she brings to page, but I just wasn't feeling this story. I wasn't feeling anything about it. I gave it a 3-star. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't the greatest, if you will. So definitely go in with caution. As I said, it is a very dark romance with some heavy, heavy dark themes. The next book that we have up is Long Shot by Kennedy Ryan. This is another in-person book club pick that one of the girls had picked out. This is a basketball romance. It was so hard. It was so hard to get through this book because I was not vibing with the writing. I really wasn't meshing with the characters or their dynamic together. There was something off, and I don't know if it is the author's writing style or if it's just the story altogether. So I'm definitely going to be giving Kennedy Ryan another shot in another series, but I wasn't feeling this. I ended up giving it a 3-star, just in the middle. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't good. I didn't feel like I was in the story. I felt like there was a lot of slow moving. There was way too much description in parts that didn't need that over descriptive writing. So just a 3-star. It was okay. The next one is Where's Molly by H.D. Carlton. This is a spinoff from her Haunting and Hunting Adeline duology. This is following Molly, who you find out who she is in Hunting Adeline. I gave this 2 stars. This was under 200 pages. Again, I love H.D. Carlton's writing. I just don't think that I meshed with the character at all. I really was excited about this book coming out. It is her new release. It just came out this month. However, I wasn't invested. I mean, you don't really meet Molly, but you find out who she is in Hunting Adeline, and then finding out about her and more of her story, her backstory and things. It was interesting, but like I said, I wasn't into it. I gave it 2 stars. I'm happy I read it because it kind of brought the whole Haunting and Hunting Adeline duology to full circle. I'm very happy that she wrote this book because it gave us more in depth about the world and some side characters and such. So again, I'm happy, but I don't think that I'll ever read it again. So that was pretty sad. The next one that I read was Tipped in Frost and Blood by Luna Laurier. If you follow me on Instagram, you know that I started this last week. I was raving about it because the first book is Of Shadow and Moonlight, which is a book that I got from the Bookish box last year in one of my monthly subscription boxes. I loved it. It's a paranormal romance with gothic vibes. It has reincarnation. It has fated mates. It has gods. It has a lot of things in it. It's a very unique world, a very unique story. Loved it so much. Couldn't wait to get to book 2. But before I went to book 2, I saw that there was a little novella. It's not very long, and it kind of bridges the gap between book 1 and book 2. This is not meant to be like a full-length novel. It doesn't give you the vibes where you're like settling back into the world and being with the characters. This was kind of similar to what Sarah J. Maas did, where it's around winter solstice and they're all with their friends and their family. They're exchanging gifts, but you also get to see Cassie developing her skills and training and seeing the trauma that she's going through and how she is coping with that. Also, how Damien isn't around and how she wishes that he was, but he's trying to be there for her. You learn more about the characters and a lot of things with her family. And all I'm going to say is Barrett, one of the side characters, everybody needs a Barrett. Me and the author were messaging about this on Instagram. Loved it. There is a scene in here that Barrett just sticks up for our girl, and it was just so good. And then lastly, the book that I just finished a couple days ago is Heartless Hunter by Kristen Ciccarelli. This is a brand new release this month, one of my most anticipated reads this year. I was very cautious going into this because it's a witch and a witch hunter book. It's a fantasy romance, enemies to lovers. I had never read anything by this author, so I was a little skeptical. I am so happy I picked this up. I need book 2 like today, and I feel like we're going to be waiting a year before we get the second book. But you are basically following our girl. She's a witch, and she's trying to save all of these witches that have been imprisoned and that are going to be persecuted and put to death. So she is going around trying to save them. She is mobilizing kind of a rebellion in the background. And then our guy, he is a witch hunter. You find out why he despises the witches, which I'm not going to give that away. It is kind of a spoiler. But he is trying to find a crimson moth, and that is who our girl is. He is trying to hunt her down. She keeps eluding him at every turn. So she decides that she is going to try to seduce him in a way to get close, to get some answers and intel that she wouldn't be able to get anywhere else. He, on the other hand, is like, I'm going to seduce her because I think she might be a witch and stuff. So they're kind of playing this game with each other, and they don't even know that they both are doing that. It is so good, you guys. I highly suggest, if you love fantasy romance, if you love an enemies to lovers story, and you want to get into a brand new world, this is definitely one of those that I am going to be suggesting for a long time. It was so good, wonderfully written. It was so atmospheric, and I felt like I was going through it so quickly because I didn't want to stop. So again, I highly suggest picking it up. So that does it for all of the books that I did finish since my last update with you guys. Let's get into the 2 books that I am currently reading. And I tell you what, I'm having the time of my life right now. So the first book that I am reading physically is To Ashes and Dust by Luna Laurier. This is book 2 in the Of Shadow and Moonlight series. It does continue on after book 1, but I highly suggest reading that novella that I did read last week before picking this up, because even though it's kind of like just a winter solstice vibes, let's be together kind of thing, it does give you some insight into what's going on that you will be able to connect with here. You don't necessarily need to read it, but I think that if you want to be immersive in this world and you want to know every little detail of what's going on, it is a must to definitely read it. But I am loving it. I am currently on page 95, chapter 11. I mean, this is a chunker. It's like over 500 pages. But I am having the time of my life being back with Cassie and Damien. I love all of the side characters, what's going on, and I can't wait to read more about it. So I am physically reading this, and so it's going to take me a little bit of time because even though it's 500 pages, it is like packed with words. So definitely going to take me a little bit to get through, but I wanted to get caught up with this because I think book 3 is coming out in a few months. Might be wrong, but I think it is. And I want to dive into that world. I don't want it to be like the Blood Grace series where I'm having to read 7 books to get caught up. So I'm trying to stay on top of my series currently. And we are going to be reading this probably throughout the next week as well. But I highly suggest, if you guys love paranormal romance and you want to find a new to you author who's an indie author, try Luna Laurier. She's wonderful. And then the next book that I am listening to on audio is Woven by Gold by Elizabeth Helen. This is book 2 in the Beasts of the Briar series. If you've been around for a while, you know I absolutely love Bonded by Thorns, which is book 1. I read that probably in August or September last year, right before I knew that this book was actually out. I am devouring it. I'm on like chapter 39 or 40, and I think there are 90 chapters. There's a lot of chapters, but I'm over halfway on the audiobook, so I feel like there's going to be a lot of like 2 or 3 minute chapters coming up. But if you don't know anything about the Beasts of the Briar series, it is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, kind of. It also is reverse harem. It deals with our girl who ends up going to the Fae realm and basically getting her father to go back to the mortal realm, and she decides to stay there with these 4 princes. She finds out these 4 princes are cursed in different ways, and they have to find their mates to break the curse. So our girl is there. The guys are kind of standoffish towards her, but they start letting their guard down and being friendly with her, and she starts developing relationships with them, like friendships. And she doesn't want to leave. She loves it there. There is Kaldarian, who is the High Prince of Winter, and he doesn't like to get close to her at all. Come to find out, Kaldarian is her mate, but he banishes her back to the mortal realm. And you guys, I'm telling you, I am loving this story. I am currently, like I said, halfway through the audiobook. Things have picked up. The story has gotten so much better. You get different POVs from all of the high princes, and it's just so good. So good. I am loving this world and everything. So if you like Beauty and the Beast and you want to pick up a new fantasy romance and you like reverse harem, definitely pick this up. I will say, where I'm at currently in book 2, things are just now starting to get, I guess, spicy. So if you're not into a slow burn, you may not like this series, but it pays off, you guys. It pays off. I highly suggest picking this up. Book 3, Forged by Malice, just came out in December, so I can't wait to get into that one. And I think the 4th book comes out later this year. So, you guys, I'm absolutely loving this series. So those are the current books that I am reading. I said that I kind of want to do a little bit of a chat as well. I am kind of getting into not necessarily a book slump, but where I don't necessarily know what I want to read. I don't know if I want to read fantasy romance. I don't know if I want to read a romance or a thriller. I'm just kind of in this mood and I don't know how to get out of it. So if you guys have any tips and tricks for that, please let me know in the comments below. I also have a girls trip coming up on March 9th. We are going to be spending the day in a town away from us, about an hour away, and we're going to be going to several bookstores, getting lunch, just kind of having a girls' day to kind of get away, just enjoy life, and I can't wait for that. I have been loving the reads that I have been reading currently, but I will tell you, I don't know if my mood and how I'm feeling affected my ratings last week, especially with H.D. Carlton's books, because I typically love her books. So I don't know if it's me and how I'm feeling, or if it's, I didn't actually really like the books. I don't know how to digest that information. I don't know how to figure out what is happening, because then I pick up the books that I'm currently reading and I'm absolutely loving it. I don't want to leave these worlds. So I don't quite know what's going on with me on that. So we'll just see. I also just saw a video that Rachel from Raven-Haired Reader that put up today, where she did a weekly vlog giving authors that she either DNF'd or didn't like a second chance. I like that idea. I think in the next few weeks, I might pick some books that I have on my physical TBR of authors that I didn't necessarily like the first time, or that I DNF'd, and maybe, do a week where I am reading those. Let me know if you would like to see that. I would like to see if I give them a second chance, if it's going to pay off in the end. I hope. So those are my thoughts currently. Like I said, always leave me comments below. I am always looking for suggestions and some tips and tricks to get out of the mood that I'm in. But let's head on over to my TBR cart and kind of go over things with that and get rid of some books that I'm just no longer interested in reading. And, maybe that'll make me feel better whenever I go to pick out my next book. All right, everyone, I know this is kind of a weird angle, but it's hard to get all of these books in. Let me adjust you. Maybe that's a little bit better. Okay, so this is my current TBR cart. I have pulled the ones that are from the back to the front because I have read quite a few off of here, so I was able to make them all front facing for me. But whenever I was doing that, I saw that there was a couple books that I'm not interested in reading. So let's kind of go through it and get rid of some of those that I'm not currently wanting to read and just say bye to them. It's, you buy them because you're in the mood for them. And then if you don't read them immediately, or if you're like me and you don't read them immediately, you end up not wanting to read them later on. I don't know what happens. I don't know if you just kind of outgrow that vibe, but I'm sad to see them go. So let's start with the top here. I don't think that there's going to be hardly any that I want to get rid of. Actually, probably Love in the Time of Serial Killers by Alicia Thompson. I've had this on my TBR cart for almost 6 months now, and I've just not gravitated towards it. I think I'm just going to cut my losses with it and just say, I'm kind of done. It's sad, but that's what we're going to do with that one. I feel like all of these, though, are still ones that I am gravitating towards, that I am wanting to read. So I don't think I'm going to touch much on the top of here. I think the only one that I probably would be getting rid of is Just My Type by Fallon Ballard. But I just put this on my TBR cart just like 2 months ago. So I'm going to give it a little bit of time to like set and see if I gravitate towards it. But let me know if you see any books on the top shelf that you think that I should make a priority read. I am all here for those suggestions. The second shelf on here is a lot of them that I think that I'm going to keep as well. I don't know about Never Never by Colleen Hoover. I don't know if I'm going to end up liking that or not. And then also To Kill a Kingdom by, who is it by? Alexandra Christo. I know that I got the Bookish Box edition of this, but upon reading about what it's about, I don't know if I'm going to like it. So someone let me know in the comments if I am going to end up liking it. I'm not a big like pirate or at sea or siren type of book, and I think that's what it's kind of like, or maybe mermaid type of book. And I've never been gravitated towards those, but let me know if I should get rid of that book or if I should make it a priority read. I think on the bottom shelf here, I definitely know that My Roommate is a Vampire. I'm definitely going to be getting rid of. Like I said, I've had it on my TBR cart for 6 months. I haven't gravitated towards it. I have heard a lot of mixed reviews, and I don't think that I'm going to end up liking it like I thought I would. So we're going to be getting rid of that. And then the other one that I am kind of on the fence about is This Woven Kingdom by Tara Mafi. I have heard that it's a hard fantasy to get into and that it's not really good on the world building, but I also don't know if I want to keep City of Brass on here because I have heard some things about it that maybe I personally wouldn't like, about like trope wise or, structure of the story and stuff. I don't know if I should get rid of City of Brass or not, but those two I'm thinking about, and I don't know what I want to do with that. There's so many on here that I don't know if I'm gravitating towards them. Like Belladonna, I've had on there for 6 months. I've had Slaying the Vampire Conqueror on there for 6 months. I know that I love the Crowns of Nyaxia duology, but I don't know if I'm going to want to read this. So I don't know, guys. There is so many things on here. Starling House, I don't know if I'm going to want to read because I don't think that it's a trope that I like or a genre that I like. There's so many things on here. I need your help. If you can please help me and let me know, out of all the books that you've seen me read and actually love, which ones do you think that I will like, and which ones do you think that I probably won't like? I know that Finding Dorothy was one that my husband got me, and I don't want to get rid of that one because I want to read it. He always tends to pick books that I wouldn't pick for myself, but I end up loving. So we're going to keep that one on there. But again, let me know what you guys think about the TBR cart. I didn't get rid of as many as I thought that I would. I only got rid of the 2 books, but I am just not gravitating towards them. I'm really not even gravitating towards Belladonna, which I think I am going to get rid of Belladonna as well. This is the Fairy Loot. Yes, this is the Fairy Loot edition, and it's a stunning edition. The reason why I think that I'm going to get rid of it is because I have heard that the second book isn't as great, and so I don't really want to get into a book series that maybe I'm not going to want to continue. So I think I'm happy with taking that off. But other than that, I think Colleen Hoover is definitely going to be possibly on the chopping block because I've never read a Colleen Hoover book. And I know that she co-wrote this with Taryn Fisher. And I know that it deals with they got their minds erased or something, like amnesia, and they were like best friends growing up or something, or like lovers or something in high school. So I don't know. This might be on the chopping block next. I also don't know if I am going to be continuing on with the War of Lost Hearts, I think, trilogy. Children of Fallen Gods. I didn't really like the first one, but I love Carissa Broadbent and I wanted to give that a shot, but I've not been gravitating towards it. So again, it might be because I'm in this reading mood. I don't know. Let me know though, guys, in the comments below, which books should I prioritize? Which ones do you think that I won't like? And also always give me feedback on suggestions on content that you want to see coming up. Don't forget to head on over to my Patreon, become a member, choose, the monthly book club pick, also get exclusive content over there, and definitely look out for some fun content coming your way soon. So without that, I am just going to go ahead and go. I hope that you all have a great weekend. I don't know if you'll like the structure of this video, but if you like the little weekly reset vlogs, let me know, and I will definitely keep doing these. But anyway, guys, have a great day. Bye!